Benton here. Always a struggle getting the lighting right. Must have had some natural light on the last one. I don't know. It is what it is. Is that better? Kinda. Not really. Apologies for the background noise. It's 60 degrees. I don't know that I want to shut the rig down right now. Where are we? Mount Vernon, Texas. About 120 miles east of Dallas. And my country persona, I'm not a country boy, but my country persona is kicking in. I was just in the country store style truck stop. Not a Love's, by the way. I reused my cups. The lady that was mopping the floor was nice enough to give me my refill coffee for free, but part of that was, trying to clean up. It was spotless, by the way. One of these MAGA strongholds, right? Overly sanitized MAGA strongholds. What up, Raz Van? Yeah, man. Yeah. So the plan was to drop in Dallas on a dropping hook and then head to the yard, running out of hours, but man, it torrentially downpoured and I had zero visibility. Meanwhile, I'm good in the rain. I drive my ass off in the rain. I was passing damn near everybody before the visibility went to zero. It's 75 miles an hour. What's that, over 120 kilometers? Yeah. But then, as we've talked about, my preferred hours of driving is like right now, whatever time it is. I don't even know, 3 a.m.? That can't be right. Well, whatever time it is. So I realized my vision wasn't up to the task, and I was feeling fatigued, not from the job, but from my working hours of, my sleep schedule getting fucked up. There you go. Yeah, sleepy when it rains. Razvan, sleepy when it rains. But I like to drive in it, and the less chance of getting pulled over. The popo don't want to get wet, getting out. And so I stopped at this little TA Express, paid $10 to park. It's all paid parking, which is good in this case if all the truckers are getting off the road at the same time. And got a great night's sleep. I picked up some tart cherry juice, and I almost drank it at Walmart when I bought it, and then I remembered, oh yeah, this stuff supposedly, it can make you sleepy or assist in sleep. So I waited, but man, I don't know if it was just I was tired or it was the combination of that and the juice, man. I was knocked out. Yes, sir. Tart cherry juice for my gout. See, I wanted to already hit the road. Let's see. Yeah, I accidentally muted the mic. My apologies. So what I was saying is I want to start my day right away. I wanted to start my day 30 minutes ago, but I'm waiting intentionally, strategically, because my load that I'm picking up at a major corporation, a preloaded trailer, they said it will be ready by 8 o'clock. So it could be ready right now, but I have no way of knowing. And again, it's an information age, but it's effectively impossible to find out is it ready, or is it not ready? It's almost impossible to find. Why is that? Why am I not blessed into an app or some kind of database? As soon as they put me on the load, I've got a smartphone. Why wouldn't I be able to find out? Right? So obviously, the powers that be, they don't want me to have access to that information. God forbid old Benton, and when it rains, it torrentially downpours. Yeah, Miss Beck's in the house. I saw old Provo was live. But I'm going to tell you, listen, y'all are either going to believe me or you're not going to believe me. Oh, Razvan said he got a drop and hook short run for his last shift. There you go. You about to go on your weekend? Razvan's about to have some time off, I think. I'm trying to bust my ass this weekend to make a check. If I can get this thing delivered tomorrow, I'll get paid on the next check for it, I believe. Yeah, that's cool, man. Now, y'all can choose to believe this or not, but I stopped at this Walmart in Hope, Arkansas. They have actual truck, spaces for 18-wheelers. The Unitruck, Una, right? Not uni, just out. Uni is an insult. It's Una, U-N-A, Unabomber, just out. Good to see you. Yeah, that was part of the PSYOP, actually, and I found a really good YouTube video years ago when I was watching a lot of material and reading a lot about old Uncle Ted, and I had never. It's in plain sight. It's a PSYOP in plain sight. So Una sounds scary, the Unabomber, and then as soon as they caught him, it became the Unibomber, which sounds silly and ridiculous. No, you're good, brother. I'm pointing something out. Beck's back in the workforce. The Unibomber. And they even did they showed a Saturday Night Live sketch where Will Ferrell played the Unabomber. But they kept calling him the Unibomber. And Will Ferrell's, just acting all crazy. But when they needed when the system was getting mileage out of the public being terrified by these bombs. Can you say that word on here? Can you say that in the Alphabet Google YouTube's help it? So Unabomber was scary, but then and they needed people to be, not needed, okay, the system was getting mileage out of people being terrified. So then when the PSYOP was changing to the next phase and he was captured, Kaczynski was captured, then the media immediately began referring to him as the Unibomber, even though it's U-N-A, Unabomber, because it's like university airplanes. It was some kind of silly FBI. They took up portions of the first part of a bunch of different words and put it together. UN was for university, and I think A was for airplane. Yeah, UNA. Because he early on in the career purportedly had a explosive device on a plane. Commercial jet. But I don't want to get sidetracked on that. But man, again, went into this Walmart in Hope, Arkansas on I-30, and I can tell the locals are over it. There's like a church there and a bank, so they put up a gigantic sign that basically says no heavy truck traffic, but that's on the side road, which is not truck restricted. See, what these people, if they really don't want trucks, they can't restrict it. Actually, that's Walmart's, that's the road Walmart's trucks come in and out of also, or can, right? But hypothetically, the locals would need to go to their local city and county government and have proper signage put up. So what happens is sometimes people get sick of big trucks and they make their own signs, but they're not legally enforceable. Well, the heater doesn't work, Razvan, and it's humid. But I can turn it off for a minute. I just don't want the engine to all the way cool down. And it probably helps, you know, whoever's next to me not hear my freaking loud ass voice, since I'm yelling, but since I feel the need to yell. But yeah, the bunk heater needs to be rebuilt, number one. I think this might have been a team truck, and you know, the teams don't need the bunk heater. The truck's always running, but or they're on home time, or they're sitting and waiting and idling the engine. But it's so humid that when I shut down, I have to run the air conditioner, actually. Yeah, high humidity. But yeah, it's a monsoon out here. It's monsoon season. It's last night they said 1 to 2 inches of rain, and then 1 to 2 inches this morning, and flooding potentially. But anyway, I got parked in the parking lot, you know, just long enough to run in and grab my groceries, and then since I didn't know the weather was gonna sideline me, I thought I was gonna make it all the way to Dallas, which I could have, but it was fraught with peril, and I was getting tired. Only because of the hours I was working, by the way. If I was working my normal shift, I would not have been tired. Fatigued, physically fatigued, driver fatigue. One of the biggest contributing factors to, you know, if a big rig crashes and it's the driver's fault, driver fatigue is way up there with other than like, and we had road conditions. And that's another thing about safe driving. I can handle one factor. So if it's driver fatigue, but conditions are perfect or conditions are ideal, no problem. But you get driver fatigue, you get, my phone keeps blowing up with tornado warnings, not watch. A tornado watch is effectively meaningless. Tornado warning, which means, hey, it may very well be on the horizon. And then I love this. As soon as my phone starts going off saying tornado warning, seek shelter, and I'm like, well, they're being hysterical. I look over and guess who's passing me? The fucking storm chaser truck, the storm chaser SUV with all the you know, barometric pressure devices and, you know, whatever all that is on the roof. I said, damn, maybe this is serious. Yeah, soundproof. Are you kidding me? This is America, dude. We're barbarians over here, as you know. A bunch of barbarians. But yeah, back to the driving conditions. So once dude, the weather was insane. And I've never, like, I'll just slow down when it's raining like that. But then, like, people were flying off the road. You know, people can't drive. People were flying off the road and, like, going mudding in the median, right? Which Texans love to go mudding, I'm sure, but not in the median of the freaking interstate. Now I'm telling, like, 3 stories simultaneously, so sorry about that. My apologies. What time is it? Let me get my other phone. Oh, God. Yeah, see, it's only 3:30. There's your 33. I need to wait and leave. Oh, let's see. But then we get into, there is Saturday rush. There's morning traffic. See, there's traffic in Dallas in the morning, even on a Saturday. Flying in the air. Well, the context would be the heaviest rainfall possible on an interstate highway with a grass and soil separating the two sides of the interstate. You know, one eastbound and one westbound. So that when the person who doesn't know how to drive loses control of their vehicle in the rain, they metaphorically, as they begin to skid, it's as if they flew. It's as if the vehicle took flight, right, into the median. So it's a metaphor, but as I've said before, I always reserve the right to take things literally. So, but your autism may be showing a bit, perhaps. But hey. We don't mind a little touch of the tism around these parts. Yeah, I heard those Scania trucks are great. He imported one to the USA. Wow. Yeah, I've heard that people love those trucks, man. Yeah, I heard they're awesome. Yep. Badass. So back to Walmart Supercenter, Hope, Arkansas. Yeah. Well, see, now we got somebody trying to change the topic. Are you a topic changer, Michael? Michael's changing the topic. It is interesting how people have a strong ability to change the topic to something else that they might want to discuss. Okay, it's okay if you are. I'm just cheeky. Yeah, the reactions of Americans are priceless and funny. Yeah, I'm sure. Razvan. All right, let me wrap the story up. The problem is I allow myself to get distracted by the chat. And, you know, most of the time I'm driving or I'm not reading the chat lately, so it's a good thing. But, so I'm man on a mission, you know, I'm trying to get in there, and I have to take a 30-minute break. So if I really do everything properly, I'll get my shopping done, I'll get back to the truck, it'll be right at 30 minutes, right? You know, once I get everything stowed away. So I'm running around, you know, people are slowing me down, but they don't know they're slowing me down. And hilariously, like when I have the space, I'll be, you know, walking at top speed, but then when I have to slow down, like I'll just kind of mimic, like whoever's nearby sort of making me slow down, I'll just kind of start stepping like they're stepping, and it's hilarious, their reactions. Because, you know, these people shuffle their feet, they take these tiny little steps, you know. A lot of aged people, older folks, people who are just infirm, a lot of fats, you know, it's a very obese region, a lot of obesity, right? But then there's a few gals in the store. Bro, they were breaking their necks, man. It was actually a little bit, oh, I forgot the best part. It was a little unsettling, okay? But then now it's egg time, because I'm trying to keep the eggs cold, right? So it's egg time. So I'm over by the eggs, and, you know, I want to see what they've got, because even though it's Walmart, they still, you know, what's in stock versus what does that store carry. You know, this store doesn't have as many of the you know, frou-frou, highfalutin brands that I might prefer. And so I'm perusing the fucking eggs, and I'm considerate. You know, I'll put my basket far away where it's not likely to be in the way. I'll walk over, because eggs is an item, although in spite of the price, maybe people aren't shopping them as much, but people might tend to gather at the eggs. And the whole bottom row is like 20 feet of 18-pack, just regular old eggs. Well, I'm just standing there fully focused on, you know, examining, are any of these broken? You know, I'm going to get these 3 cartons, you know, I'm checking it out. Are any of them unacceptably small? And next thing I know, some little chickie in her 20s is sidled up next to me. Except I already spotted her, and she's with her fella. Her fella is following her around, pushing the cart. So I done already spotted them. Next thing I know, here's little chickie. And, you know, I'm just kind of annoyed, right? But I'm not showing it, you know, as much these days. So I'm annoyed, and I just say, hey, you know, I basically point out that because now she's examining the 18-pack of white eggs, but the one that's closest to me, always on my right side somehow. They never sidle up on the left. Why is it always my right side? I don't know, strange. Maybe Bex knows. So she's right there in my space, and I just make some comment about how, you know, well, there's actually, all of this is the same product, so, you know, within parentheses, maybe go over there, right? And her fella's just like standing there, you know, and I don't know, maybe he said, I don't know what he said, I can't remember, because remember, I'm man on a mission. I can't no little chickie get my attention, because I'm man on a mission, right? I never looked away from the eggs. I'm doing my thing. Now we start having a conversation in front of her fella. We're having a back and forth. Now we get into egg prices. I say something about California. Well, I was in California. The eggs, it's way more expensive, and half the time you come in here and it's just wiped out, right? And you know, and I'm multitasking now, right? And this whole interaction was like 90 seconds, probably. And then she wants to tell me about something to do with California, and her mom's fucking Egg McMuffin costing $5. And I said, oh, I love my body. I said, that's the worst thing you can put in your body is McDonald's. And she laughed. I said, what the fuck is this, man? Later, Bex. I said, what the fuck? I think I could have just put her in the truck with me. I'm not even kidding. I think I could have just said, come on, let's go. I think I could have left the parking lot with her in the fucking I'd have been calling the company like, hey, I know I'm supposed to let y'all know ahead of time, but I got a passenger. I picked one up. I picked up a stray at the fucking Super Center in Hope, Arkansas. You know, I said, this is crazy. So I get away from them. You know, I go grab some tart cherry juice. I blast out of there. So now I'm like, maybe I'll. Oh, and the canned fruit, since this particular Walmart has a dearth of less unhealthy food. You know, doesn't have some of the more potentially healthy choices. I wanted some of them jars of apricots, them $3.50 apricot halves in the cinnamon, right? That's what I wanted. Well, see that I'm not. That's the problem, Razvan. We're not supposed to be thinking this way, and I'm not castigating or chastising you, but you know, this is where these ideas get out into the zeitgeist. And what I would say is, like, you know, we're not really supposed to be thinking that way. But by the way, I'm not even, I can't even address that, but it doesn't even matter. But you're not doing anything wrong. I just want to point that out. That and actually, I do want to say this. So let's just say that that's a real thing, and I'm sure it is, but I don't think it's as. And what we're talking about is the dictionary definition of the word cuckold, and it's sort of been bastardized into meaning like that's what the more submissive male. So I would be the dominant male in this scenario. The more submissive male actually is titillated by being able to see, his woman ravaged by a dominant male, right? I mean, that's the entire setup for what they call, what's now referred to as a cuck, right? And so I had a greater point I was going to make. So if that's the case, Razvan, then you're right, because this probably happens a lot. She probably just goes up and talks to strange dudes right in front of him all the time, and he probably does like it. Yeah, so that's creepy, right? That's creepy. No, I wouldn't. Oh, I got a story on that, Razvan. I got a story on that. Because, see, here's the thing. I can't address a woman's experience. I can only address my observances. What's up, Evac? I can only address my observances. So one of our first dates with ex-wife number 2, and this will tie into what you're saying. So Razvan says he's never had his lady chit-chat another dude because you wouldn't put up with it. See, this guy puts up with it. He tolerates it. So and again, when I met ex-wife number 2, she doesn't know. She knows I'm seem like I'm the real McCoy, right? Like I'm this certain type of dude, So we're walking at nighttime. There's a really nice national park. It's downtown, Hot Springs National Park. There's like a walk by the bathhouses, and it's open 24 hours. You can go for a walk up there. And there's nobody around. It's like 10 o'clock at night. But she's from there, right? She's a local. So as we're walking, there's this weirdo dude by himself, like under a fucking street light, probably on meth or whatever, and he's just being creepy. Well, I guess they know each other from school, so they start a little back and forth as we're walking up. Her feet stop. Mine don't. I just keep fucking walking, right? And so she's now, her feet are facing towards that guy, and in my mind, I'm like, hey, like, I got this broad's number. Like, I made this date. I picked her up. We're on a date, right? Now, she's free to do whatever the fuck she wants. I'm not going to get angry. I'm not going to be like, hey, what the fuck are you doing? But I know I have other chicks' numbers. I know I can call other chicks and take them on dates, and they want to go on dates. I just keep walking. And then after a while, I'm like, I wonder how far is she coming? Like, so now there's like you make a left and it's like a sweeping path downwards down to the street level. This is all elevated. Next thing I know, she comes running up behind me, right? I was just, if she let me get to the car, I was just going to leave her ass, you know? In my mind, it's like, well, if she would rather be with creepy dude, she's not the one for me, right? If her preference is creepy dude rather than me, have fun, right? Have fun. But then, you know, that's also a way for her to sort of see how I'm going to react. Like, there's a lot of like seeing how, you know, the person will react, right? Yeah. Well, and I was in the full height of magnifying my own self-image, right? This was the full flower of, this was Benton, you know. Actually, it wasn't maximum size. No, that's not true. I was working towards the maximum expression of Benton. I was only like 165 pounds on my way to 190, 195. Yeah. Well, it goes beyond a shit test, but I hear you, Razvan. It goes beyond that even, but I hear you. Yes, sir. But anyway, like, I don't get anything out of, see, none of my reward centers has anything to do with humiliating another male. Like, you know, to me, it's just weird that the guy's there, you know. It's weird that we're talking and he's just standing there. Like, what is this? Back to the Walmart, not me and the ex-wife story. But yeah, it's weird that we're in the Walmart and we're just having a chit chat. But remember, these younger generations, you know, these people were both in their 20s. You know, she's fully empowered. She has full agency, so she gets to just go talk to any guy she wants. That's just okay, right? It's completely fine. And in fact, part of it is if her girlfriends found out about this, they could say, well, oh, you must have liked him or whatever. And she could say, no, my boyfriend was right there. So it's plausible deniability. Just like when I used to wear a wedding ring, it made it more likely for strange women to talk to me, because now when their girlfriends say, oh, you must think he's cute or whatever. Oh, no, he's married, right? So I'm safe to talk to. Well, the boyfriend's there. Now it's safe for her to go talk to men, right? But I want to point out how sick and twisted the morality of the people who think that they're traditional family values conservatives has become. What's happening right now is exactly why I criticize people who think they're morally, and I don't mean you, Just Out. I'm talking about the people who you know, think they're Trumpers, Republican, MAGA. They assume the moral high ground, right? They believe themselves to be morally superior to Democrats. It's the same thing. This is just as degenerate and depraved as the lefties. They just have their own version of it. See, that's the point I've been trying to drive home all this time. Is if MAGA and Trumpers and traditional family values Christians, so-called, although like Dick Gregory said, how come I can tell a prostitute walking the track? How come I know she's a working girl by the way she walks, but I don't know you're a Christian unless you tell me, right? Meaning the actions don't back it up. And I don't mean you specifically, right? Well, no, they're the same. It's not a similarity, Just Out. It's a moral equivalency. So what I'm saying is, if you take a meter, like a video game meter, and 100% is Jesus and 0% is Satan, and that's morality, that what I'm saying is people who are left-leaning and people who are right-leaning are exactly the same. Their meters are both like a 24. That's what I'm saying. But for some reason, the ones who are more right-leaning assume that they are way higher on the morality, and they're not. They are equally degenerate and depraved. But it's what? It's repressed. And repression is always harmful to the individual. But this is leakage, see? It leaks out, right? Because we're using a proxy. So what's happening is the conservative-leaning person is looking at another person's situation and is actually denigrating the male and calling him a specific term that refers to a specific sexual act that's deviant. So people who believe themselves morally superior are walking around with a commonly used term to refer to a perverted, degenerate sexual act, and they're doing it in public, they probably say it in church. This is what I'm talking about. See, it leaks out what's in their mind, right? And because I have deductive reasoning, because I'm observant, I just watch all their behaviors. I watch all the pastors end up being gay and all this stuff, and having these sex scandals with men, right? I see all of this. I see all of the so-called right-leaning politicians ending up in gay scandals because it's repressed. See, on the left, they don't repress it. It's just, yeah, let your freak flag fly, right? So that they don't repress it. They just let it out. It's just, to them, it's normal. That's the difference. The difference is how is it portrayed and how is it processed, right? So I would argue that if both sides, and I don't even like the term both sides, but that it's actually less unhealthy the way the left does it, because they put it all on Front Straight and say, let's deal with it. Let's have clinics. Let's have a medical system to deal with all this depraved behavior. But then look at where is the highest rates of STDs. Louisiana, which doesn't have the infrastructure. So Los Angeles County is going to have a way lower incidence of unclean people at a level of their sexual health than Louisiana, because Louisiana represses it. Now, is there a county health clinic? Sure there is. And it's like a dungeon, right? And it's shame. It's shame to have to go in there. You're shamed, you're shamed, you're shamed. They don't do that on the left. They don't shame people. It's called kink shaming. And people, what we're talking about is a kink. This is kinky, right? Anything but a man laying down with his woman in the missionary position to impregnate her is kinky. Think about that. Anything that's not what I just described is literally kinky, whatever it is. See? Now, people have opinions because they don't want to face reality, but that's the reality of the situation. And if you don't want to accept it, that's fine, but it's truth, right? But who wants to think about themselves as, decadent and depraved, right? Anyway, I got to go. We're going on duty, so I got about 15 more minutes, and we'll be wrapping up. Pre-trip inspection. Wait a minute, hitting the wrong buttons. Hold on, we got to do a DVIR before I forget. DVIR. Create DVIR vehicle. I put my name on it that it's safe to drive. Certify and submit. Create DVIR trailer, which is it, by the way, is a vehicle. This is a combination vehicle. If people don't know, I'm driving two vehicles actually, not just one. All right, here we go. Yeah, and again, I used to engage in graphic type of talk, but I'm more and more, I'm just not interested personally. Oh yeah, here's my coffee. Yeah. Now here's why Democrats and Republicans are they're always equivalent in every way over time, right? But two different sides of the same spectrum. So Taoism would say if the sweet spot is in the middle, that's the perfect balance. That means the left is unbalanced on the left side and the right is unbalanced on the right side, but they're equidistant from the center. So if one side was stronger than the other side, they could not equal out over time, meaning one of them would eventually defeat the other. See, the Democrat Party will never defeat the Republican Party over time and vice versa. It's not possible because they equal each other out. It's like an algebra equation, and when you solve for x or whatever, it all fucking solves out and it just equals out, right? Yeah. So then back to the Walmart story. So then after I get away from the weirdos, and it's weird, and but if she got a little thrill, that's fine. But and I don't even know, I don't even know if she was attractive or whatever. And I don't like them yoga pants, man. I don't like yoga pants. She had yoga pants on. I don't like yoga pants. Not a fan. I might need to put a lid on this. See, I probably don't need more coffee right now. I just want more coffee. Yeah. Hang on. Hang on. Just save it for later. Found this Contigo in LA. It leaks a little, which is probably why I found it, but it's like $30 right here, partner. Yeah, I hate yoga pants. I want something left to the imagination. You know, like I'm unwrapping a present or something. You know, I don't. Why just see everything from the first moment? I don't get it. But anyway, so then I get my cherry juice, and now since I couldn't get the fruit, I'm like, okay, maybe they have some fresh fruit I might be willing to buy. They didn't. But as I'm in the produce, there's like 3 women. Dude, this Indian lady, but again, they're all younger than me. I'm so old now, you know, gonna be 50 soon. They're in their 30s probably, these 3 chicks. Now one of them was just like gigantic woman, like the size of a large man, right? But she's still a woman. And so she's checking me out a little bit. But the Indian woman, it's like she's, you know, doing her shopping, and then she catches sight of me and just, she just, here's what she does. She's kind of stooped over. This is not an exaggeration. She goes just like that, and it's just directly looking at me. I'm not kidding. She does this. And it's just looking at me. And I'm like, okay, this is fucking weird. Right? And I think what might have happened is a pretty good looking blonde lady, probably in her early 30s, maybe mid 30s, maybe saw the Indian's woman reaction, and now the blonde is looking at me. I'm like, this is fucking crazy. I'm thinking to myself, I gotta escape this motherfucker. Like, are they gonna let me get out of here? Like, what is this? And it's not me, by the way. It's not that Benton is great. No. It's that I'm just an actual man. That's it. That's all it takes. And again, once we get into the category of men, I don't even necessarily do that great compared to the other actual men. I mean, I know where I'm at on the fucking pecking order. But in 2025, especially in the younger generations, the vast majority of all the males never made it to the man category. Versus, I talk about, you know, at my age, born into a time warp in Southeast Arkansas, virtually all the males passed into actual manhood. So when the gals my age were in their 20s in the Walmart, there were plenty of men around. So now it just would have been, okay, I go into the Walmart, maybe I get some attention, maybe I don't. Now it's almost every single time, because I go in there and it's me and maybe 1 or 2 other dudes. That's it. And they probably work there, right? You know, like the store manager, he's probably in his office. There's the Frito guy, you know, fucking stocking as fast as he can. Meanwhile, he can't keep his job and flirt with the women. Frito, man, my best friend's dad was drove one of them Frito vans. They got to hop fucking to it, you know. There ain't no, there ain't no chance, there ain't no time to check out the ladies and have a little back and forth. They might talk to somebody else that's doing some stocking, like the beer guy, while they're both fucking working. They'll never stop working the whole time. Well, but see, here's the problem, right? And and you're not wrong necessarily. What they want is male attention. They want attention from a man. They don't want, like, to date me. They don't want to. Now they want a man at their house. They probably don't have a man at their house, right? These are single women. They want a man at home. They don't, probably not me, but the point I'm making is women are powered to some extent by attention from men, you know. Yeah. And it shows you how much the system and programming and, feminism has changed society. Because it used to just be normal. You know, like I walked in the truck stop, and the lady was mopping, and a Hispanic lady, and young. They're all younger than me, but you know, I just made some kind of comment in my my country persona here. It's obviously a put on, whatever version of, you know, I don't have dissociative identity disorder, but you know, I might have a smattering of some of the of some of the traits, but it's like I'm an actor. I guess I probably am. I don't know, to some extent. So I'm acting the role of this a local person, might talk to some extent. And she laughed. Like I wasn't trying to make a joke. It's just that I'm a dude. I said a thing. Now she's a chick and she gets to go hee 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 hee. Like that's part of being a human, and that's they're breeding it out of us. They meaning the system. The system's like breeding it out of us. But yeah, again, here's the thing, Razvan. I don't give a fuck who cares what she wants. That's her problem. That literally, that's her problem. What does what she want have to do with me? But then as males, we're trained like to be attentive to female needs, right? Well, especially under equality, I'm like, nobody gives a fuck about what I want. Why would I give a fuck about what they want? It's dog eat dog out here. It's been every man for himself for quite some time, right? Why would I care? But so as I'm circling around kind of behind the blonde chick, who was pretty good looking, I have to say, I just started talking to myself, but also to sort of just not to her, but kind of to her, but then just sort of to whoever might be paying attention. I'm just like, if I was in the market, I wouldn't be on the market. Meaning if I was open to meeting women at the grocery store, because remember, TikTok is training them to go out in public to get approached by men. So really, realistically, Razvan, what this is the women are overtly, it used to be subtle signals to come talk to me. Now they're sending overt signals to come talk to me, right? For me to go talk to them. Or any man, go talk to me, please. So now they're going to the grocery store, they're simultaneously shopping, and then TikTok is telling them, well, go get approached. And then every once in a while, TikTok says, well, if you're not getting approached, you're going to have to approach the man. And then now I'm getting approached. I get approached now in grocery stores. Like, no bullshit. It's happened. It happened in this story. I got approached. She just happened to already have her boyfriend with her. Fuck. I mean, what is this? What even is this? And I got to get rolling. I got maybe a couple more minutes, but it's probably good to put myself on a clock on these. But I'm not the solution, I'm not the solution for any of this. But the point I was making was, if I was in the market for a lady, I would already have a lady. Thus, it's quite the conundrum. So this is what the ladies don't realize when they go to the grocery store is there's no such thing as a single man who's not in a relationship who she finds to be attractive enough, and part of that is being a man, right? Having that status as just a man, a dude, and then who's also going to go chat her up and get her phone number and take her on dates, who doesn't already have women in his life. That does not exist, right? So the point I'm making is, if I was open to going to the grocery store, chatting up women, and by the way, there's not going to be any social media involved. So I'm talking about, give me your phone number, I will call you. We're not texting, right? Text me, I'm not texting you back, by the way, ladies. There's no texting. The last lady's phone number I got in public was during the pandemic, and it was at an H-E-B grocery store in Austin. I got this gal in her 20s phone number, and I told her, I said, I'm going to call you on the phone for a date. The bitch started trying to text me. I never returned. I'm not texting. Machete don't text, partner. I don't know. Absolutely not. She could be doing anything. She could be in the midst of a crank orgy, fucking texting me. Absolutely not. No. No. No, 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 no. Negative. Not gonna happen. So then I called her on the phone later, and she answered the phone. I was like, what is this? In my day, they knew not to answer the phone. Let me leave a message. And then call me back. Let me leave a message. And she answered the phone, so then I'm like a little confused. But and then she doesn't want to go do the date activity. I was going to take her to a museum. She's like, I don't really like museums. I'm like, all right, well, bye. You know, because she's not the one for me, because I would not date a lady who did not like to go occasionally wander around an art museum. By the way, great first date opportunity. You know, I get to stand there looking at the piece of art, and she gets to stand close to me, right? That's what a date is supposed to be. It's a mechanism for facilitating an interaction whereby the parties can sort of get to know each other a little better. It's not, let's go watch a movie where we can't talk to each other. It's not, let's go to dinner, right, where we're going to have an awkward, forced interview style conversation across from each other while eating food, right? Yeah, that's not the thing. But anyway, I'm out. Thanks for watching. Bye.